The Big Bud KT450 is a name that echoes through the world of agriculture, not just for its sheer size but for what it represents: power, durability, and the relentless spirit of farming in the vast open fields of America. Built in the late 1970s by the Northern Manufacturing Company, which later became Big Bud Tractors, the KT450 wasn't just a machine. It was a solution to a problem many large-scale farmers faced: how to till more land in less time. This monster of a machine is one of the rarest and most iconic tractors ever made. You won't see many of them around today, and when you do, they're often the centerpiece of any farming operation they're part of. We're talking about a tractor that was born to work. No fluff, no unnecessary electronics, just raw mechanical muscle. Now imagine yourself standing next to this beast. The first thing you'd notice is its towering size. It's not as massive as the famous Big Bud 747, but don't be fooled, this tractor is still a giant by any standard. It has a long nose, huge tires, and that classic squared-off look that defines vintage American engineering. Under the hood of the KT450 lies its heart, a 450 horsepower engine, which back then was borderline insane for a tractor. That power came from a Cummins 1150 cubic inch diesel engine, an absolute torque monster. It wasn't about speed, it was about pulling power, and the KT450 could pull some of the widest equipment available in its day, cutting down on-field passes and saving precious time and fuel. But raw power wasn't the only story here. The KT450 featured an articulated frame. That means instead of turning like a car, it bends in the middle, giving it a tighter turning radius for such a large vehicle. That articulation made it surprisingly maneuverable for its size and was one of the key reasons farmers loved using it in large open fields. The articulation also helped distribute the weight more evenly, reducing soil compaction, a major concern for anyone serious about soil health. This feature alone made the KT450 a leader in innovation during its time. Driving it wasn't like modern tractors with plush cabins, touchscreen displays, or automatic steering. This was a hands-on, full-body experience. You'd feel every vibration, every grunt of the engine, and every bump in the field. But that's what made it legendary. You knew you were commanding something powerful. You respected the machine, and it returned that respect with years of service. When the KT450 came out, it wasn't mass-produced in the thousands. In fact, only a limited number were ever built. That exclusivity adds to the mystique. Collectors and vintage tractor enthusiasts hunt for these models, and when one comes up for sale, it turns heads fast. Not just because it's rare, but because it represents a golden era of American farming, a time when machines were built to last, built to be repaired in the field, and built with the sole purpose of making the farmer's job easier and more productive. Another thing that stands out about the KT450 is its simplicity. It's easy to maintain if you've got the skills and the tools. There aren't endless sensors and electronic modules to worry about. Just good old-fashioned mechanics. Solid steel, bolts, hoses, and parts that you can actually understand. That simplicity is part of why some of these tractors are still running today, over 40 years later. You'll often find KT450s in the hands of enthusiasts or collectors who either restored them to their former glory or kept them in pristine condition through decades of careful use. Some are even still used on farms where they continue to perform day in and day out, pulling cultivators, chisels, and air seeders across thousands of acres. There's a certain pride in using a machine that's older than some of the people operating it, and still outperforming expectations. It's not just a tractor, it's a legacy. Over the years, the KT450 has inspired a kind of cult following. From YouTube channels to farm shows, people love to talk about this machine. Not just because it's rare, but because it's a reminder of what farming used to be, a tough job that demanded tough equipment. The design philosophy behind the KT450 was all about giving the farmer control and capability. There's no unnecessary complexity. Every part of the tractor has a purpose, and that purpose is to work. You won't find luxury in the cab, just functionality. A seat, a steering wheel, a few gauges, and controls that make sense. And yet, that's exactly what many farmers love about it. It's honest, it's straightforward, and in a world where everything seems to be getting more complicated, there's something refreshing about a machine that just does its job without complaint. The KT450 wasn't trying to be fancy. It didn't care about comfort or status. It was made to earn its keep. And earn it did. Ask anyone who's ever driven one, and you'll hear stories about how it would pull through mud when nothing else could. Or how it would just keep going, season after season, without needing more than the occasional oil change and a new set of tires. That kind of reliability builds trust, and trust builds legend. Today, the Big Bud KT450 is more than a piece of equipment, it's a symbol. It stands for an era when machinery was built by people who understood what it meant to work the land. When engineers sat down with farmers and asked, "What do you need?" and then actually built it. That's rare now. That's why the KT450 has such a strong emotional pull for so many. So if you ever get the chance to see one of these in person, take a good look. Listen to the roar of that engine, watch the articulation as it turns, and remember, you're looking at a masterpiece of American agricultural engineering. A machine that didn't just help feed a nation, but did it with strength, with grit, and with pride. The Big Bud KT450 isn't just part of farming history, it is farming history. And as long as people love machines that work as hard as they do, the legend of the KT450 will keep rolling on.